Bruce, you must have something really good too.
Of course I do. It's Bruce Danielson, and I guess I'm here to entertain you too.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Marshall Selberg, and as chair of the City Council, it is my honor to recognize Councilor Theresa Stehly tonight for her years of service on our City Council. Theresa Stehly was elected as the at-large City Council member in 2016. During her tenure, she served on the Multicultural Center Intergovernmental Board, the Audit Committee, the Southeastern Council of Governments Executive Board. Councilor Stehly, on behalf of the City Council, it's my honor to present you with this flag that has been flown over Carnegie Hall with the inscription that reads, "In recognition of Theresa Stehly for her 4 years of dedicated public service and commitment to Sioux Falls and its citizens." So won't you please join me in thanking Councilor Stehly for her 4 years of service to the City of Sioux Falls. And as I said, I'm sure we're going to have to twist your arm to say a couple words.
As it goes, I will sit down and say a few words. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the people of Sioux Falls, and I want them to understand that this last 4 years of my life, 4 years and about 3 months, I have given my heart and soul to serve the people out of a heart of love. Every decision that has come before us, I have scrutinized over, listened to all sides, and spent my whole energy trying to help people and to try to protect your best interests. Sometimes that meant asking tough questions. Sometimes that meant questioning our city staff. But I believe that that is what our city wants from their elected officials. We are the last stop when it comes to passing any kind of financial, policy, contractual effort. I have stated this many times, and this body knows it, they've heard it well. My belief is that it's the citizens' money and it's the citizens' business. Everything we do in this body belongs to the people. We are not a private corporation. We belong to you. So we need to make an extra effort at keeping things open and transparent. I am so grateful for the times in the last 2 years when our mayor has been willing to listen to my ideas and to listen to both sides, and there have been times when he's implemented my ideas. There have been times when my colleagues have been willing to listen to all sides of an issue. Many times I have found that our citizens are not listened to, but the council as a body tends to listen to the department heads and the developers. So my energy has been to break out of that and to bring the public in as much as I possibly can. I'm very grateful. We just came out of a historical election. 29,000 people voted in my city council race. 29,000 people. I got almost half. I lost by 97 votes. Thank you to those 14,000 people plus people who supported me. And it was a race. That's how we do things in our community. I ran a grassroots campaign, a positive campaign, a low-budget campaign. My opponent raised a record-breaking $117,000 to get into the office. Also, I have to say, towards the end of the campaign, it was going very positively, and I have to say this for the record, for the public. I am a Republican. I have been a precinct woman in the Republican Party. I've attended conventions, and the state party, some members of the state party put out a smear campaign piece against me towards the end, mailed it to many Republicans. I have yet to find out who was behind it. Everybody's pushing the buck. Negative, and misinformation in it. So just for the record, I want people to understand that I've been a good Republican, but I have worked in this office to represent all the people. Whether you're a Democrat, Independent, Republican, I don't care. We are called to be nonpartisan. And it's disappointing to me that we allowed the Republican Party to come in and put their handprint all over this election. That really is not doing the citizens the best service, in my opinion. I have a little snapshot of the 4 years. Actually, it's 14 years. I'd like to show you very quickly here. And part of my essence for the last 14 years has been responsive representation. I got started in this in 2006 with the Drake Springs pool. When there was going to be an effort to make that an indoor pool, we did a petition drive, and we got about 76% of the vote that said we want to maintain an outdoor pool presence in that neighborhood, and it has turned out to be the most widely used pool in our city. Down in the left-hand side, there's a group of women who helped me. We worked together. These women and myself, we raised money to put flowers down along Cliff Avenue because the city wasn't going to do any kind of landscaping. Activism. Get out there. Put your money out there. Put your effort out there. You can make a difference. And then in 2012, we did a petition drive for snow gates. I had heard about these from our previous council member who passed away last year, Kermit Stagers. Kermit talked about snow gates for years. And everybody just threw them to the curb. They thought that was the stupidest idea they'd ever heard of. And I heard it, and I started calling Bismarck where they were used, and then our mayor, Mike Huther, thought they would be a good thing to try. And one thing led to another, and we did a petition drive. I led the drive. Bruce Danielson and Harold Gilsrud were my co-chairs, along with 40 other people. In 2012, we gathered 8,400 signatures. We put that to a vote, and it won by a landslide, and now our city enjoys snow gates. I will tell you, as a council member, these last 4 years, I have fielded many, many phone calls from people concerned about the service. And that's one of the things I did, and I will continue to do, is I would call Mark Cotter. I called the mayor. I said, we need to go back and take a look at what happened with their street. And people they deserve to be serviced because it is an ordinance. So we're going to continue to make that a priority. Then, in 2015, I got involved with Greg Jameson as he was working on updating our boulevard gardening ordinance. And now you see I think we're going to be getting this parking strip thing updated. We couldn't actually find it, Mayor Paul. There's nothing on the website that will help people see that. This was one of my old flyers. But we got this ordinance passed that allows you to do creative gardening on your boulevard. And there is an energy happening within our community that is really geared towards environmentally friendly policies. And we passed a boulevard or a beekeeping ordinance. We're talking about rain gardens. We're talking about plantings that are native to our area. It's so exciting, and I think that's where our city is going to be traveling as we move on. City Council outreach, I have been committed to finding ways of getting together with the people and listening to them. Every year I make a weekend at the Benson Flea Market, talk to people, and it's so exciting. And let me say, I have invited my colleagues to come with me. Most of these things I've done, I've invited my colleagues to come with. Janet Brecky came with me, Pat Starr stopped by, and you see I have all of our information here. I pass that little sheet out wherever I can go. Call your council members, connect to us, we're here for you. City Council outreach, we went to the Native American Parade. I went to the Native American Healthcare grand opening. I spent a Saturday last summer at the Festival of Cultures telling people about the free bus pass program that we had, and also wanting to hear from the community so I could hear the perspective of all members of our town. Faith Temple food giveaway, very important partner in helping the people who don't have enough to eat. Councilor Starr and I helped with the Barrel House Dunk Tank benefit, Hungry Hearts School Lunch program last summer. It was, the mayor has done that in the past, and I'll tell you, we got bruised badly, but it was worth it. I helped with the tornado cleanup with Councilor Brecky there. I helped clean up the railroad over by the McKinnon Park area. We went to spend a Saturday with that with Diane DeCoyer. We I help with sandbag outreach. Again, this council thing is not just a 5-hour-a-week thing. For me, it was my life, helping people always. I went to the Whitewall sessions. Unfortunately, we heard that they're going to be halting their performances. Dal Rummel did a piano dedication. They're a wonderful facility for recitals. We used to have small business Saturdays. There's Joe Batchelor and our own Jeff, what's Jeff's last name? Eckhoff, good old Jeff. And so, yeah, we used to do small business Saturdays. That might be something you want to pick up again. Did a safe house tour, missing in action ceremony down by the river last year. Independence Day picnic, I helped with the 4th of July picnic the last 2 years. We fed 5,000 people, fabulous. Hy-Vee, City Council Outreach Counselor Greg Neisert joined me the first year I did that. But people really appreciated ways of getting out and meeting with people. And it's nice if it's not related to an issue. They're listening to your concerns. Site visits, big deal. And we got people, I believe here, that are going to be talking about a car wash situation. I did countless site visits. When we actually go to the property and see and eyeball it, it helps us to make better decisions. Jerry's Barbershop called. All of a sudden, there was a no parking thing. See, it says 2-hour parking on the right, and all of a sudden, somebody painted a yellow strip there, no parking. Jerry calls me, Theresa, what's going on here? Found out somebody just went out and started painting yellow stripes there. We had a thing over on Main Avenue with the Cascades here. I brought Lloyd Company and the business owners together to talk about, and the city, how we could find compromise for people. That's what people want. And then, in the last 2.5 months, the biggest, most intense situation, and our pastor referenced this, was when our mayor said on a Monday, on his press conference, we're going to have a stay-at-home ordinance. I'm passing it tomorrow, which would have been on a Tuesday. And Mayor, you told people to call and email the council. I had hundreds of emails that night. On a Monday night, I hadn't seen the ordinance yet. Angry emails. These are constituents who are voting for me. I was right in the middle of the absentee voting period. People threatening, Stehly, we got the ballot on the table. How are you going to vote for this thing? On either side, people wanted us to do a stay-at-home. People didn't want us to do a stay-at-home. And so, and then we had when we got presented with it, we had this essential worker chart, which I got a photo of. But I mean, I've never experienced anything so intense as that issue. Unfortunately, I have a feeling that we could be revisiting that in the future. And it's just such a very difficult thing to negotiate, to navigate. So that was probably the most intense thing, and that was after the election should have happened. So this was really an endurance builder. City Council outreach here again, site visits. Councilor Kiley joined me in this one, but we have people all the time that are having concerns about these rezoning issues. And again, we're having this discussion about what kind of 3-story apartment building can go where. Do you want it in your backyard? Are there places that are more appropriate than others? We're going to have these discussions as we move forward so that we protect neighborhoods. And I've always tried to listen to the neighbors as much as I listen to the developers. And let me be frank, I know that developers did not support my reelection, and because I stood for the people, and that is okay with me, because I stood for what was right. If it means losing, so be it. Protecting our neighborhoods. Last summer, handyman tells me they got a problem at the Whittier area. I organized the business owners, the city staff came on board. We had several meetings to listen to everyone, the nonprofits and the businesses and homeowners, to say, what can we do to make this better? Again, you hear there's a problem, and then you respond to it. Hear it, responsive representation. That's what people want. And I will be frank, Mr. Mayor, that guy at Brian on the end said to me, what prompted me, he said, I wish the mayor would come down here sometime and look at what we were going through. And I thought, okay, I'll go down. And I did. Neighborhood Summit, Mayor Huther he incorporated this years ago. It was dormant. I approached the mayor with Councilor Brecky, said, can we bring it back? He said yes. So this was held last fall. The neighbors, the association's Neighborhood Watch people love it. And so I appreciate the mayor allowing us to do that, and I hope that we can continue to move forward with that. Citizen safety, we had our Neighborhood Watch picnics. I went to 10 of them last year, reached out, spent a lot of time driving around to drop in because this is such a fabulous program. I've been promoting Neighborhood Watch since I started one about 15 years ago. Here it is right here. I've been passing that flyer around since I've been elected. Neighborhood Watch. Eyes and ears for the police department. Last year, here you go, Mr. Sneevy, there you are. We had the town hall at Kenny Anderson. It was about a year ago. We'd had shootings there, came together, proactive, fabulous. We need to do more of those. Touching base with all the neighborhoods. Just had a random shooting, a murder last week. We've got to do things to clean up these neighborhoods, and it starts with organically with the people who live there. I did a police ride-along. I know several of my colleagues have done that as well. I've supported the police. I have supported their contractual fairness. Sometimes all they want is a non-monetary concession. I say, you know, go for it. Let's build them up so that they can protect us as effectively as possible. Annexation Outreach. When we first got elected, started talking about grabbing some of these homeowners' property outside the city limits. And when the city refused to notify these 1,600 property owners, I said, okay, I'll do it. I made that flyer myself. I paid for it. I spent a weekend going to all the different annexation areas and handing it out to people as they drove into that pocket of homes and said, please pass this word around. They were expecting 25 people at this meeting. Over 100 showed up. And it ended up, these people kept coming. It ended up being a procedure that would be beneficial to everyone involved because the citizens got involved. They can't get involved if they don't know what's coming. They can't get involved. We did the beekeeping ordinance. I did a little thing on South Dakota Broadcasting talking about promoting beekeeping. Public input. After our mayor got elected, Councilor Selberg came up with an idea to take public input and put it to the back of the meeting. We had a very behind the scenes, very fiery discussion. And I fought to keep that at the beginning of the meeting. And we compromised to take it from that 5 minutes it used to be, we reduced it to 3 minutes. And then we added some public input on the first reading, which was really cool. But in the midst of that, I used my own money, and I had this postcard made up, and I mailed it out to people. Because otherwise, they won't know what's going on. So part of my city council salary has gone, a big chunk of it, to mailing things out to you so you understand what's happening in our community. And I hope that public input will never be touched again. Promoting transparency. The event center campus meetings were being done secretly. Councilor Starr and I had a resolution saying, let's open these up. And then the mayor and his staff said, well, we'll open them up, and they did. Here's a picture of that. Councilor Starr and I wanted to see the safety study audit. Couldn't see it. All of a sudden, then it appeared. And it turned out it never was really written down. It was all word of mouth. A city council action, multi-use parking ramp. When that thing emerged, that parking ramp, I said, oh, there's too many problems here. Again, we're called to vet this out, to ask the hard questions. And I sent that notice out. See, it's yellow. I mailed that to people. I said, call your council members. I was hoping the public would be able to get us to slow it down. They showed up, I'll tell you, full force. But it was voted through anyway. I did not vote for it, but my colleagues did. And now we're facing challenges. Again, I think we need to slow things down and vet things out for everyone. Some things that I sponsored, some people will say, hey, Stehly's a negative Nellie. All she talks about is, concerns. Well, I also tried to get some positives done. The table tennis that you'll see over at Riverdale Park, I worked with our finance department and city staff, and we put that in the budget. Solar speed signs, brought that up. Mark Cotter purchased those. You'll see more of those around town. Project Trim. I'm a big advocate that we need to make Project Trim part of the city budget and not put that on the back of homeowners. We got, and I hope we still have it in the budget, but we have a fund now to help people who are struggling, which is a step. I also worked to keep Frank Olson in the capital plan so that we aren't going to make it into a spray park. That was good. We tried to get Project SOS so that we could help backpacks by using parking funds, but because of our parking ramp situation, that was too tight to go there. Had an ordinance for park board redistricting that we wanted everyone in our city to have a park board member from their district. And I have to give our mayor credit because he, I think, has been doing that on his own, but I think that should be written as an ordinance, that every district, every part of town has somebody from the park board on their, on the park board from their district. And then I also asked that the city put up pool signage, and that, of course, Frank Olson was a picture I took because there's a tree in front of it, but you'll notice now there are signs to pools, and that is just, I think, very helpful. So in closing, thank you, I've got more than my 5 minutes of public input. I want to say that two things, and I've said this to the mayor many times, and it's been a point of contention between the mayor and myself. But I'm going to tell you, because what the heck, what have I got to lose? And I said it to him right when he got elected, and I said it to him last week. I said, Paul, you're not my boss. I said, God's my boss, and the people of Sioux Falls are my boss. He's not the CEO of us. We are equals. He's got his branch of the government. We have ours. And my philosophy has been all the while, we are called to be independent. We certainly collaborate on things, but it's not at the expense of involving the public and using our best judgment. That's the kind of government I want from my city council. And I think at least 14,000 people agreed with me on that. We're not a private corporation. We're doing the public's business. And the last thing I'm going to end with is a piece of scripture that I have used many years myself. And I think it's so appropriate for us when we're dealing with other people's money, making decisions about other people's business, to embrace this. From Mark chapter 8, verse 36, for what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his very soul? Thank you, Sioux Falls. God bless you.
All right, thank you, Councilor Stehly. On behalf of the city, we thank you for your 4 years of service on the council here.
Bruce Danielson. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to look at my phone here. I got an email. The family of Kermit Stagers had planned on being here tonight, and they had a family emergency, and so June asked me to read something for Theresa. First, I want to thank the City Council for allowing citizens of Sioux Falls the opportunity to speak before the Council. Secondly, tonight is Theresa Stehly's last night as a Sioux Falls City Council person for this term. As a City Council person, Theresa has been a good leader, a person who has listened to the people's needs, put performance before politics, the regular folk before the rich, and that Theresa Stehly has served well all of the people of Sioux Falls equally and fairly, and I and the people of Sioux Falls thank her for her service and hope to see her again on the City Council. We've had, through this experience since 2012, I've gotten to know the Staggers family. I came to admire Theresa, Scott Ersman, June, and especially Kermit Staggers, and the public servants that all of these people have been. I've watched some people on the City Council turn their back on the citizens. And it's a shame, because what Theresa was going through tonight what June was referring to, what the life of Kermit Staggers was all about, was public service, and that all of you people sitting here are our votes to move the city forward. We seem to come to city council, and just as several people have talked about here tonight, we get forgotten because y'all get so busy in all your little policy games and placing where your desks are going to be or whatever that might be, that we kind of forget that we've had, since Theresa's been involved, Drake Springs, Citizens for Snowgate, Spellerberg Pool, Save Our Schools, the Walmart fight, Stop the Funding, where the 6,400 people got cheated out of a vote. The Shaped Places fiasco that Greg Neitzer was going to champion the fix for, and he never has. The triple check the charter that once again we got cheated out of being able to do it. City and citizen outreach is what Kermit taught us, and Theresa took it to heart. There have been many elected officials who have claimed to be open and transparent. Theresa, ever the teacher, taught us all what this really means to be a teacher. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.